Hey, what's happening? I've been away for a week. I've been a bit poorly. You genuinely probably don't care. We're on 95,000 subscribers as well. 5k away from the big 100k. You've got no idea the big things that I've got planned. You know why you've got no idea? Because I've got no idea. Send me some suggestions in the comments below. Listen, I'm going to do this video this week. It's about the eternal Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard debate and why I think it's coming to an end. But it's all been stirred up this week by the fellas over on the 888 Sport YouTube channel who've been saying this.
Lampard versus Gerrard.
That was the right answer.
Frank Lampard.
No, Steven Gerrard.
I just don't know what Gerrard was better than Lampard at. What was he a better goal scorer than him?
Tackle better than him.
Was he a better tackler?
Was he a better tackler?
Gerrard was filthy. Gerrard wasn't a naturally gifted tackler.
What are you on about? No. Tackling, he's better than him at passing the ball. He's better than him at influencing.
He wasn't a better passer. He didn't have more assists.
Gerrard wasn't an assist passer, but in terms of passing.
Oh, so key passer. He wasn't good at so key passing Lampard, but knocking it across your back four. Gerrard.
No, I don't mean knocking it across your back four. I mean knocking it across the pitch for a winger to run onto and get the ball into the box. Steven Gerrard, yes.
Right, obviously, and it should come as no shock to you, lifelong Liverpool fan is going to fight for the case of Steven Gerrard. Before I do, I just want to highlight one more thing that was said in that video.
I think we've got a better player in our team now than Lampard, and I think Gini Wijnaldum is...
It's things like this why people don't like Liverpool fans. Stop it. Gini Wijnaldum. Look, I love Gini Wijnaldum. I think Gini Wijnaldum is a fantastic footballer and a fantastic human being. He's the Liverpool footballer who has spoke to me the most of the entire squad. I love him. I genuinely love Gini. He's a great man. Look, we can't really compare him to Frank Lampard, to be perfectly honest, because they play in completely different positions. And, you know, we could carry that argument out with Gerrard and Lampard if we're going to be perfectly honest. Look, for my 2 cents, for what it's worth, I think Steven Gerrard was and always will be a better all-round footballer than Frank Lampard. He was just a 10, wasn't he? He was just a guy who hovered around the edge. I say just a phenomenal, world-class, talented footballer. But I wouldn't want Frank Lampard at right back or centre half or left back or DM or centre forward or right wing or left wing. You know, he didn't have the pace, he didn't have the mobility, and he didn't have the full field of vision, the full range of passing that Steven Gerrard did. But between the two of them, one of them was world class. The other one was world class as well. So you're basically splitting hairs between 2 world class players, and it's kind of like you get these debates down these, and the reason why they don't go away is because there's no way to prove or disprove one way or the other. And the lads in there, and they talked about like goals and they talked about assists. Frank Lampard played like 100 odd more professional games than Steven Gerrard. He's a couple of years older, and Gerrard had lots and lots of injury problems, particularly in his younger years, which did hamper him. In addition to that, Gerrard did a lot more jobs for the team, so played in a lot more positions. You know, anyone who watched the Istanbul Champions League final, Gerrard finishes that game at right back, having scored one of the best headers the world's ever seen to kickstart things. You know, hello, here we go, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Gerrard's goal scoring and assisting is going to be hampered by the fact that ultimately, you know, he was playing in mad and different areas of the pitch, kind of by the by. So look, I don't think it's really under any doubt that Gerrard was an all-round better footballer. But what I'm really pleased about right now is that I don't care. Honestly, I don't care for this debate. And the reason why I don't care is because we've been so precious about, as Liverpool fans, been so precious about Steven Gerrard for so long, because ultimately he was our best player, and he was our best player in the last time that Liverpool were any good, for the longest of times as well. You know, look, you know, 5 times Istanbul, been all we've talked about since it happened, because, and rightly so, a phenomenal game, arguably the greatest Champions League final, inarguably the greatest Champions League final of all time. But we did nothing really after that. We got the FA Cup in 2006, League Cup in 2012, and a couple of half-decent seasons here and there. Finished second a couple of times in the Premier League in that, leading up to the Klopp era. And even the early days of the Klopp era, we fell short in the Europa League, Champions League, etc., etc. Liverpool are amazing now. Liverpool are in the top clutch of best teams in world football at the moment. And it means that I think... as much as I've gone to bat over this argument so many times. I've gotten frothy at the mouth and riled up. The indignation, righteous indignation that even suggests that fat Frank Lampard Jr. could possibly be mentioned in the same breath as Steven Gerrard. Listen, when you break it down in terms of stats, as mentioned by the lads, Frank Lampard has more goals and more assists and has played more senior professional games. However, when you break it down to goals and assists, goal contributions per game, there's very little between the two of them. It's like a goal or assist contribution every 2 games for Frank Lampard, and it's like 2.3 for Steven Gerrard. You're talking fractions between it, really. To put that into context of just how good both of these footballers are and why it is a little bit, it's just one of those schoolyard arguments that just we could probably just do with getting in the bin. Zinedine Zidane has got a worse goal contribution per game across his whole career than Gerrard and Lampard. Yeah, it's like 2.6-ish when you look at that. That tells you how good they are. And once again, that tells you how good Frank Lampard was, because again, Zidane, predominantly an attacking player. You know, teams were built around Zinedine Zidane and his ability to influence football matches. Steven Gerrard, not enough teams were built around. Too often Steven Gerrard was the best player in the team and was therefore used, and again, in weird and wonderful ways. Scored like, 18 goals, I think, from right midfield under Rafa Benitez. So you go, well, hang on a second, you know, he was playing out of position, but he still had a fantastic season. Yeah, but it meant that he was never able to specialise a position. And I'm sure there'll be detractors of Gerrard going, well, if you've been good enough, yada, yada, yada. That was never Steven Gerrard's problem, because when you've got a team of phenomenal players, you're able to put the best players in their best positions, whereas for too many years, Liverpool just didn't have that luxury. Go back to that Istanbul side, and it always gets referenced, the Jimmy Traores and the Milan Barroses and the Djibril Cisse's and the Vladimir Smices of this world. Gerrard was comfortably the best player in that team, and that was a team that had Xabi Alonso in, but he was still a year or two away from hitting his peak as a footballer. We had players who were on the wane in terms of Sami Hyypiä. Jamie Carragher was in the prime, but by and large, our team, you know, look at the Chelsea team that we knocked out that year. It was streets ahead in terms of overall talent, and Frank Lampard was an important member of that side as well. So, yeah, look, the good thing about this all is that Liverpool are so good at the moment that we've got more interesting things to focus on. We've got more interesting things to argue and debate, things that are more relevant. And to be honest, there comes a great degree of comfort with your side being quite good. So, look, I don't think Rory's wrong, and I don't think the Liverpool fans wrong there. In having those staunch opinions one way or the other. Inevitably, you back what you've seen with your own eyes. And look, I've seen pretty much every competitive game Steven Gerrard played for Liverpool, so I've got a much wider breadth of knowledge on what he could do on a football field, of course, compared to Frank Lampard. But I'm not going to sit here and say Frank Lampard's crap, because Frank Lampard wasn't a great footballer or a world-class footballer, because he was, and he carried on doing it. He had a much better time in the MLS. You know, he goes to Man City, doesn't he, for that very brief period, and he's in the tail end of his career. I think he had better years than Steven Gerrard did in the tail end of his career, as well as being older in that time as well. So no, phenomenal footballer. But the beauty is, I think, for all Liverpool fans now, is some of these debates, fine, we can consign them to the history books and they'll still come up and they'll still continue. It's like the Messi-Ronaldo debate in years to come. Like, you don't really hear anyone argue about the Ronaldinho-Zidane debate anymore, because you can just look back in time and just go, whoa, two absolutely fantastic footballers. Zidane was my favourite of the two, but in terms of goals and assists and goal contributions per game, Ronaldinho over his entire career is like goal or assist every 1.4 games, which is just ridiculous for the guy who effectively played as a winger a lot of the time. And had his career, and basically had his career fall off a cliff when he left Barcelona as well. So yeah, look, these things are always going to continue. They're always going to be talking points. But the beauty of it is that I feel, for the first time in a number of years as a Liverpool fan, I feel utterly resistant to the almost pseudo banterous attempts to drag us into these old debates and Steven Gerrard slips and blah 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 blah, whatever. 6 times champions of Europe. We've got the best team pretty much in the world at the moment. I'm happy. If you're a Liverpool fan, you should be happy as well. And understandably, if you're a Chelsea fan, things aren't necessarily going wonderfully for that football club. But, you know, still plenty of things to hang your hat on, plenty of reasons to be happy around the football on a week in and week out basis. I'm really interested to know your thoughts on this, though. Ultimately, you know, you're still getting drawn into these arguments. Do you just feel generally more relaxed about the footy? Make sure you go over to the 888 Sport channel, of course, and go and leave your thoughts and opinions on what they've talked about. The Genie Wijnaldum point is defo worth going over there and just giving a little reminder that, look, when you say things out loud on video, it means that you're putting yourself out there, and, you know, if you're going to say silly things like Wijnaldum is better than Lampard was, as good a midfielder as Gini Wijnaldum is, you probably do deserve to get a little bit of smack talk back to you. So yeah, I want some suggestions. I mentioned at the start of the video, I'm like 5,000 subscribers away from 100k. I've got a couple of ideas of what I want to do, but I want some big, bold, wild ideas. Send me some links and stuff that really cool and interesting stuff that you've seen, things that I'll be able to do in the UK. Maybe I don't mind recreating things that other cool YouTubers have done. Give me some suggestions in the comments below. If you're watching and you've enjoyed this video and you've not subscribed to the channel, then please do subscribe to it. I'll put a link up on the screen there. Click my face and subscribe, and there'll be some links to other bits and pieces of content as well. But yeah, do that. Go and check out the 888 Sport channel. Give them hell. Tell them Maych sent you always. And other than that, I will see you back here very soon.